Turn the page and continue the prayer. This word eleison, comes from the lexical entry eleao, or sometimes it's spelled eleeo. We'll go with this lexical entry here. Eleao means I have mercy, I show mercy, I have mercy upon. Let's look at the form of this word. This is a verb. You can tell when I gave you the lexical entry with this word ending in an omega that this is a verb. Notice how the ending has changed here. One of the things now we have learned to ask when we come across a verb, after we identify the lexical entry, is to ask the question, is there an augment? This epsilon in front is not an augment, is it? Because the lexical entry of this verb begins with an epsilon. If we were to augment this verb to show past time, then the epsilon would become an eta. It would become a long vowel. So this is not an augment. Let's go to the back part of this verb, and I want to show you an ending here that we've not covered yet. This is an imperative ending. Now, I'm not going to insist that you learn this ending totally at this point, but since this will be a foundational prayer for us, and we will look at this prayer a number of times, gradually you'll learn this particular imperative ending simply by seeing it enough times and using it. This is a very popular word. It has to do with mercy. And if I tell you that the ending on this verb is a second person singular, and that it is also an active ending, and that it is imperative. Now, I'm not going to just put an I here for imperative because that might confuse us with the term indicative, but rather, why don't I put an IMP? Or you could put something similar to indicate imperative. This ending is also an aorist imperative ending. I know that not only because of this sigma tense indicator, but that I have already learned imperative endings, and as you memorize your endings, you will learn this ending son as an active imperative second person singular ending. Why do we have this eta in front of the sigma? Well, if we look at the lexical entry of this verb, we notice that the present tense stem ends in a vowel, an alpha vowel. When verbs have their present tense stems ending in either an alpha, an epsilon, or an omicron, we call these contract verbs. And if you refer to some of the earlier tapes, we went over what contract verbs are and what happens to them when they're in their different tenses. So what is happening to this alpha when it is followed by a sigma tense indicator is that this alpha lengthens to an eta. This verb in the imperative form means have mercy, please have mercy. In the imperative mood, there are several kinds of ideas that can be conveyed. One of those ideas is a command, do something. Another idea is a plea or an entreaty, please do something. Another idea has to do with a condition that ask and you will receive. The verb ask is an imperative, but couched in the meaning of that imperative is that if you ask, then you will receive. Well, since the context of this imperative is our calling upon the Lord, it certainly is not a command. We never command the Lord to do anything. We beg of the Lord to do something for us. So we're begging the Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, to have mercy. Lord, have mercy.